You just were referring to the need to read books. I wondered if you and Christina could discuss which are the books that we ought to recommend for the first 10 books that every young person should read.
When people ask me that question, I always refer to them back to John Senior's wonderful list of the 1,000 good books,
Hmm.
which he has categorized, right? He separates the books into categories according to kind of book it is and whether it's appropriate for very young children, say 5 and 6-year-olds, older children, and youths and adults. You can hardly go wrong there. I'd like to tell people to, when they're starting out, just to almost to go anywhere. Go to Charles Dickens, but do something. I mean, the devastation is all around us. It's at a stage where almost anything that you do will be a great improvement. But again, I want to emphasize for teachers and for parents who are homeschooling their kids, go to song and poetry, okay? Absolutely necessary. Lots of poems were not just written for adults, Lord help us, not written for college professors, but written for ordinary people. I give you an anecdote, okay? Another anecdote. This is one I like to tell because it again shows how far we are from what an ordinary society was, what an ordinary society I think would look like just about anywhere. So the scene is Cambridge, Massachusetts. It's in the late 19th century. It's in February, this scene takes place, so it's winter, lousy weather. And a group of boys show up at the door of the house of an old man. They knock on the door. He answers the door. It's his 75th birthday. And they're there because they know that it's his 75th birthday. They don't know him. They've never met him before. And he doesn't know them. But a bunch of boys, 7 or 8 boys, show up to wish happy birthday to the poet Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Okay? Because they like his poems. Okay? Well, Longfellow always loved children, so he invited them in, and they spent the afternoon there. The anecdote is told years later by one of the boys after he'd grown up. They spend the afternoon, they have tea and scones, and they talk about poetry. These are just kids. And then they bid him happy birthday, they leave. 2 weeks later, Longfellow passed away. It was his last birthday on earth. None of that story is imaginable now. But you know what? It ought to be. Our young people ought to be introduced to poetry that really is meant for them, gets in the soul, okay? And again, it's a case, it almost doesn't matter where you begin, so long as you do begin.